What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. You cannot even have an idea. I've had a nightmare around recording today. One of my USB ports on my laptop doesn't work, so it means I cannot use my current mic and my camera at the same time. I've had to set up a brand new mic. If the audio sounds okay, please let me know. If it doesn't, I'm really sorry. I've really tried to salvage something here. I'm hoping that we can just move swiftly on. Forget that I just was absolutely losing it at one point, screaming and raging and breaking things. But I'm going to release all that stress by enjoying myself predicting the next 12 games in the Championship. And I'll tell you what, the opening weekend certainly didn't disappoint. Some bonkers scoreline and many goals as well flying in as well. As always, guys, please feel free to leave your predictions in the comments down below as well, so you guys can enter the Lexalexus Football Prediction League as well. In terms of an update, I think I'm going to update you guys after the international break, because that will be when my next exam's over and I'll have a lot more time to get that sorted. If you guys like what you see, please smash the like button, it really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button if you haven't done as well, and please share as well. All three of these things are free to do and they really help. So let's get the intro out of the way, and after that we'll start predicting round 2 for the Championship. So we start off our predictions with Coventry going up against Oxford United. Both teams with contrasting starts to their seasons. Coventry have certainly picking up heavier expectations considering the squads and the transfers that they've made and where they've been finishing in the Championship the past couple of seasons. But it certainly didn't start off well when they lost to Stoke City pretty late on as well. If it was a 0-0 draw, it still would have been a disappointing result, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But to lose it in the way that they did and really not really challenge Stoke was a little bit disappointing. They did, redeem themselves a little bit, picking up a win in midweek in the Carabao Cup against Bristol City. But can they carry that momentum into this game here? They'll be really hoping that they could. They're playing an Oxford side, which I've got to say, I was expecting them not to win against Norwich, but they proved me wrong, and maybe putting them in 24th was a bit premature on my part. I mean, it is only one game in the season, and there's still 45 games left to determine where they'll finish. But Mark Harris and Brannigan really impressed me. They both got their goals, and they really played brilliantly against Norwich. That's a team who have been in the playoff semi-finals last year, so it's not an easy side, and they did really well. So ultimately, I think this game's actually going to be really close. As a prediction, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go for Coventry to edge it by 2-1. But honestly, it really could go either way. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We're now making it to the Saturday half-12 kickoff. So the first one is Derby versus Middlesbrough. Likewise for the previous game, both teams with very different results in their opening Championship games. So Derby lost out against Blackburn Rovers by 4-2. It certainly wasn't a really great scoreline on their part at all. They looked a little bit encouraging with corners and set pieces, but that's pretty much the only positive I can give them in that entire game. They certainly need to improve in this game here, especially at Priory Park. They need to really show their fans that they can really compete this season. Middlesbrough, they got their win in the end against Swansea. They managed to score the only goal from the penalty spot, but ultimately they could have scored a couple more goals. They looked really threatening, especially on the counter-attack. They didn't have a lot of the ball, but Middlesbrough looked a real threat. They recently just beat Leeds United in the Carabao Cup by 3-0 as well. They've certainly proven that they've got some quality and depth in that squad. Now it's going to be the question whether the depth is going to pay off in the long run and Middlesbrough can get enough points to potentially get promoted. As a prediction here, it's tough, but I think I'm going to edge Borough. I'm a little bit more confident with their depth and their performances at the moment. I'm going to go 2-1 to Middlesbrough. But again, I think it's going to be a really close one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Portsmouth versus Luton. Again, I'm really going to be intrigued about this one. Now, both these teams have had different starts compared to each other, but both certainly had starts that I did not predict at all. Portsmouth got an away point against Leeds United at Ellen Road, considering that Ellen Road was quite a fortress last season. Very few teams got results in that ground, and Portsmouth just did in the first game of the season. That is sensational for them, and I'm now kind of regretting them putting them in 23rd in my table predictions. I mean, again, like I mentioned with Oxford, there's still 45 games left, but that performance there has certainly given me a vibe that they can score goals. I've ultimately put them as low as 23rd because I didn't think they'd get enough goals, full stop. But also didn't create a lot against Leeds. They were so clinical, like what they were in League One, which is what I mentioned. But I didn't think they'd be anywhere near as clinical within the Championship. That first game has shown me that they can be if they can really find their moment. So I'm a little bit worried that Portsmouth are going to put me, you know, maybe look a little bit silly in my prediction at the end of the season. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Luton were, I can't lie, a little bit underwhelming against Burnley. I mean, it was a brilliant Burnley performance. I can't, you know, deny that. It was brilliant, and Burnley have proven they will be up there this year. Luton, no, they just didn't offer enough questions to really threaten Burnley. Burnley just had a lot more firepower, a lot more confidence, and they had a little bit more of an idea of what they were doing as well. Luton weren't able to combat Burnley defensively at all. Their physicality kind of fizzed out as well. They should really have that physicality in abundance, and it should be a challenge for most other sides. So I think it's going to be an interesting battle with these two. But as a prediction, I think we'll see goals from both teams. I'm going to go for a crazy draw again with Portsmouth, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw this time. I can see both teams not quite picking up the win here, both with just other things that both teams need to work on. But I think it's going to be an entertaining game, I can't lie. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So this is the last one of the half-12 kickoffs. We've got West Brom against Leeds. I mean, these are some big games we're getting already. And I've got to say, both of these sides certainly didn't perform to the level which I expected them to in different ways. West Brom really performed in their opening game, with a special shout out to Josh Maja to get all 3 goals for West Brom. And I'm so annoyed at myself because in my fantasy team, I had Josh Maja starting, and I substituted and actually replaced him right at the last minute. I am so annoyed at myself when I even saw he got 1 goal, let alone a hat-trick. So I'm annoyed at my team, but I'm really, really happy for him because he's been a player which I think he's been trying to prove some critics wrong. And if he can carry that on, he can have a really unbelievable season. Leeds obviously were held to a draw against Portsmouth in pretty dramatic circumstances. They had so many chances that they could have potentially won the game, but ultimately a win was never meant to be in the end. It was a crazy, crazy game. And they recently lost to Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup by 3-0. So they didn't put in the performance I think Leeds fans would be expecting. So a response is needed in this game here. But I can't lie, it's a prediction. I don't think Leeds will win again. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw in this game. I'm more tempted to give West Brom a win, but I think Leeds will have enough to prevent them losing this game. But right now, I just think things are just not quite ticking at the moment, but I think it's just going to take a little bit of time, and I think Leeds will start to grow into it. And I think West Brom will do enough to stop Leeds from getting 3 points here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now we've made it to the 3 o'clock kickoff, so let's start off first with Bristol City against Millwall. So Bristol City picked up a draw within their first game of the season. Probably a little bit disappointing of how late they conceded the equaliser. It was a penalty they conceded in the end. Stupina managing to equalise for Hull City. It would have been a really good 3 points for Bristol City considering how quiet that game was as a whole. And they've got a good chance to get their first 3 points on the board in this game here. Millwall have got a lot to prove. So right now, they certainly did not put in the performance they were expecting against Watford. It was a bit of a crazy game for it to end 3-2 to Watford, but certainly with how they performed, especially in the first half, it just wasn't anywhere near good enough. And I think that second half proved that Mill can still churn in the performance, but certainly they've got to iron out those consistencies they had in the first half. They did manage to go through in the Carabao Cup by beating Portsmouth as well, so maybe that win could give them a little bit of confidence and get a good win in their sail. But as a prediction, I am actually a little bit more confident with Bristol City with their home turf at the moment. I think I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Bristol City. I don't see many goals, but I do think Bristol City will be able to frustrate Millwall long enough, and I think they'll be able to get one moment of quality to get their goal. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Burnley versus Cardiff. I think this is going to be really, really exciting again. Burnley with a huge win starting over the season. That 4-1 away victory to Luton Town at Kenilworth Road. That is a statement win if I've ever saw one. Brilliant performances all round. Brownhill impressed me. Bettino impressed me. If that is the squad that's going to stick around with this Burnley side in the Championship, they will be absolutely fine. I don't see that team dropping with their form. And Scott Parker has been there and done it before many, many times. So I'm getting even more confident with Burnley doing well. But again, each game is posing their own challenge. And Cardiff would need to get a response. They lost their first game of the season against Sunderland. A pretty poor performance on their part. But certainly with this game, I think Cardiff will just be hoping that they just don't lose that heavily. You know, no disrespect. I just think Burnley have played so well, and I'm deeply encouraged with what I'm seeing with them at this moment. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Burnley. I think they will be able to win pretty comfortably here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Norwich versus Blackburn. So we're getting loads of sides that had very contrasting results in the weekend, which just makes this all for more interesting. And both teams scored plenty of goals within their Carabao Cup games as well. You know, with Blackburn getting 6 past Stockport and Norwich being part of a 7-goal thriller against Stevenage. I mean, there's going to be goals with these two sides. And knowing my luck, I'm going to predict a high-scoring game, and it's going to end as a 0-0 draw now. That's always the way when it comes down to predictions. Blackburn started the season very, very well, getting that win against Derby, and I think it was important as well. I think certainly a lot of eyes were on this game thinking, right, can they do well this season? And certainly the fact they still had Smolix involved, I think they could have a situation where their squad is cherry-picked away with its quality by the end of August, but they're certainly going to make all the advantages possible with that current crop of players. And it'll be even better for them that if they can keep that current crop of players throughout the whole season. But you just never know with the twists and turns of the transfer window. Norwich have got some transfer drama of their own with the Johnny Rose situation. If the reports are true that he refused to play within, you know, less than hours before kickoff, it is very poor behaviour on his part. And I do see it, you know, if they've not squashed whatever happened and have not resolved it, then I think it's just going to affect the squad even more. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a high-scoring game, and I'm actually going to go for another Blackburn win. If Smolix is playing, I think he can single-handedly do it for them. I'm going to say a 3-2 away victory to Blackburn, and they've been really entertaining so far, so I'm really, really pleased that they've been able to be this entertaining, and I think it's just going to be another entertaining game with so many goals for both sides. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Plymouth versus Hull. This, I think, will be quite interesting, actually. So Plymouth certainly didn't start the season well at all, losing by a 4-goal margin, which it honestly could have been even more. They therefore find themselves bottom of the championship table going into this game. The positive for them, it can really only go up from here, and if they are going to survive, they're going to make Home Park an absolute fortress. But this is a Hull City side where Hull are really low on numbers in terms of squad. But I think they are starting to get a little bit more frequent ingoings going into the club. And it's certainly going to need to make sure that they improve the size of their squad if they're going to survive through the whole season. Because it concerned me how little players they had on the bench against Bristol City last week. And it will become a problem if their star players start getting injured. So Hull, I still think, are quite in a precarious position, but certainly with the people they have available, they are full of quality. And as a prediction, I'm going to fare for back those players with their quality. I think they'll edge out Plymouth by 1-0. I don't see this being a high-scoring game by any means. I think Plymouth will frustrate Hull, but I think Hull will just do enough to get a goal. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Sheffield United facing Queen's Park Rangers. Again, I'm really, really excited for this one. So Sheffield United won their first game of the season against Preston. Certainly, Preston didn't help themselves with the way that they were conceding the goals. But Sheffield United did really, really well to capitalise. Gustavo Hamer scoring one of the goals. He's been linked with a move to Ipswich quite recently. So I'm going to be interested to see if he does feature within this game here. something tells me that just might be a couple of silly rumours going around Ipswich, to be honest. QPR, so they did not start the season well at all, losing 3-1 to West Brom after taking the lead as well. So they certainly got a lot to answer for. Can they get a response here? I think it's going to be very tough against a really good Sheffield United side. And as a prediction, I'm going to go for many goals from the Sheffield United side. They look like they can score plenty. I'm going to go for a 3-1 home victory to Sheffield United. And I think that is really going to propel them. And actually, it might give a lot of doubters, a bit of, self-pity in a way that they've not anticipated, Sheffield United to do as well as they did. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Sheffield United. I think they're going to continue on and have a great start to their season. Let me know what you think in the comments. We were just speaking about Preston, actually. That is the next team we've got to predict. They are playing Swansea away from home. This, again, is going to be intriguing with the fact that Swansea, I thought actually on the ball looked okay, and they had a spell where they looked all right against Middlesbrough, but certainly when they held for the ball for most of the game, they weren't carrying a lot of threat with it. But I think with that period we did see against Middlesbrough where they did start to create some really big chances, it just showed me that something's there. But if they do keep on this high possession ball and it doesn't get them goals, that could be a team that you might have to watch out for to be an outside bet sneaking into the bottom three. Preston certainly didn't start the season well. In fact, they had not started, or they did not end the season of their last season well at all. It's a really bad run, which has stretched onto this season. It's led to their manager, Ryan Lowe, departing from mutual consent from the club. Don't know if there was a disagreement or whether he felt that he took the club as far as he took it. I don't know the full reasons behind it, but either way, it's very interesting timing considering how poor their form was, Preston, at the end of the season, where they could have got rid of Lowe there and then, and they could have had the whole summer to get someone else in and have a full pre-season and do all of that. So there's a little bit of a stitch up with whoever is walking in, but they're not walking into a mess of a side. They can certainly play their football, and they did manage to redeem themselves going through into the next round of the Carabao Cup as well, beating Sunderland. So we'll see if they can carry that momentum forwards into this game here. As a prediction, though, I think this is going to be a draw, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I would have backed a Swansea win, but I actually think Preston, with that result just a couple of days ago, I think they can kick on from it, and I think it will be a decent amount of momentum, and therefore I think they'll cancel each other out and go for a draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So the penultimate game to predict this weekend is Watford going up against Stoke City. Intriguing because both these sides won their opening game, and both have been teams which I think a lot of people are thinking are going to have pretty underwhelming seasons. Watford won very, very well against Millwall to win by 3-2. I mean, to score 3 goals, it's no easy feat, and they did that. I was really, really impressed with that. So I do think there's a lot of exciting things going around with Watford at this moment of time. See if they can carry on against a more pragmatic Stoke side, which certainly they did not have the glitz and glam when they had their match against Coventry. Very few chances are far between. But they took their one crucial chance and they managed to hold on for the win as well. And they're actually keeping a nice clean sheet record at the moment, which is very, very good for them as well. So that will certainly help. But I cannot lie with this game. This one to me feels like it's going to be 1 goal, and I'm still making my mind up now who it's going to go to. I'm going to probably back Watford, actually. They're at home, and I think that might give them a good incentive to get something here. I think it's going to be close, and therefore I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Watford, but I think this one's quite intriguing based on how both sides have been performing, so I'll go for a Watford win. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now made it to the final game, Sunderland versus Sheffield Wednesday. Both starting off with the season with a win. So Sunderland beat Cardiff 2-0. Really great performance actually from Reggie Labrie, and I'm really intrigued to see if they can carry that form on to a long sustained period of time. Something tells me I think there's still some things not quite right, but I cannot take it away from them. Jack Clarke is such a talent at this Sunderland side, and if they keep him for that full season again, I could see him being such an integral part. When he was injured, from last time, I think Sunderland's quality really did drop. So if they can keep Jack Clarke fit, then maybe Sunderland can have a really good season and they can get back onto track where they would be expected to go. Sheffield Wednesday, as it stands, are currently sitting top of the championship, and enjoy while it lasts because it's a tough team, thing for all teams to do, really. But certainly an eye-catching performance against Plymouth to beat them by 4-0. I mean, it could have been held to without Plymouth were bad, but I think it's also a massive contribution. Sheffield Wednesday was so good. Over 30 shots in the whole game is insane by any team with any form, with any division. That is insane. So Sheffield Wednesday played really, really well, and I'm really, really impressed with them. It's now going to be the interesting challenge to see if they can carry that on. So Sunderland will want to pick themselves up onto their Carabao Cup defeat as well. But I think Sheffield Wednesday are proving to be a really good team here. And I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Sheffield Wednesday, but I could easily see Sunderland getting something as well. But I'm going to edge the Owls. I'm really quite excited with what they've got at the moment. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, that is my predictions fully concluded for week 2. As always, as I said at the start of the intro, please do make sure you comment your predictions in the comments down below. It's always a lot of fun to see your guys' predictions as well and to see how it differs from mine. So as you can see down here, thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please smash the like button. It really, really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button too, and please share the channel too. All 3 of these things are free to do, and they really help. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for showing this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.